And in dark shades, Jen, we are here. We are now. Can you hear me, Jen?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I do, yeah. So tonight's a different landscape that we're doing. It changes from here. We have two more together. For now. It's only for now.
Bittersweet, very bittersweet.
Just for now, though. Your forever co-pilot. We'll talk with Dom. We have, out of Oregon, Chelsea tonight. She's a psychic medium. Published author. And let's just go right into speaking with Chelsea. Bringing her in the room.
Excellent. I'm really excited.
Chelsea!
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
We are here. And we are on a Monday night at 10 o'clock. So, tell the world about yourself, my friend.
Oh, gosh. Let's see. So, my name's Chelsea. I'm joining you tonight because you requested that you wanted to hear from a psychic medium. So I'm a psychic medium. I've been seeing clients for a little over 11 years now, but I've been able to have this gift since I was a kid. So my earliest memories was like maybe second grade of like seeing people and just thinking that that was normal until I would ask my friends little things like, do you see that person over there? Or did you hear that? And people would all look at me like I was crazy. So that's a little bit about like kind of where my gift started. I could spend a whole hour just talking about all that stuff. But as far as about me personally, so I've been seeing clients, working with them for 11 years. I really started out with more of working with the paranormal when I was probably a teenager. I would tell my mom little things that I would pick up on that were like psychic things. And either people that I would know about or some of her friends, loved ones that had passed. And so then it kind of started getting me into, so then she got me into these psychic books that were really interesting. So I learned about like astral projection and more about astrology and the metaphysics in general. And so it was really kind of an interesting segue that kind of got me started because I had so much support from my mom. And then when it comes to I was probably about 18, 19, and I joined a ghost hunting group, and I was part of that group for like 8 years. It was quite a while. And that's what really sparked my love for the paranormal, was going and just experiencing and getting evidence and communicating. And all of that was what really just made me, not only did it fascinate me, but it made me realize this is kind of my life's work, my life's purpose. And it was a total accident of how I figured out I was a medium was during an investigation. So it was, it all kind of came to fruition. And that was, oh God, probably 15 years ago. And I've kind of been practicing and working at it ever since. I always tell, when I hear from people who are there, they say they're a professional medium, I feel like, I don't care if you've been doing this 20 years. Like I feel like every day I learn something new, whether it's a new sign or symbol or something cool or crazy that spirit shows me. So it's really kind of, to me, I feel like I'll always be on this learning path with it. But
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it truly is a learning path. And as we go, you learn something new every day. And I think that's part of the spiritual world as we go. I got to tell you, you have some viewers already as we go. And I want to say this at the moment. A friend who's been there from the start, from day one, as when Talk with Ted is on. But I want to say this for Tom Nally. He was from day one, as I was on the show for a poetry show with Ted. Tom Nally lost somebody close to his heart. And I just want to say, hey, my friend, we are all here for you. Much love from the heart, Jen and I.
Absolutely.
Ted, what's up with the glasses? And in dark shades, we go. The landscape changes. Anyway, Chelsea,
I can't keep them on much longer. I can't see.
Because I wear my sunglasses at night. Yep, that's what it is. Now, Jen is complaining that we can't see Boo. So let's see Boo. somehow, and then we're gonna get right back to
the first
Chelsea.
ghost of the night, Chelsea.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
Can you see
Chelsea,
him?
yeah, that's good enough for Boo. He can't take the spotlight all the time. All right, Christ. You have variety, Chelsea. Your services of what you offer. Explain all of this.
So most clients come to me predominantly for the psychic work and the mediumship work. So for those who don't know, because that's the first question is when I tell them I do both, then they go, wait, there's a difference. And
a
so
lot
what
of people don't realize that.
No, there's a vast difference. In fact, the meditation I do for different sessions is totally different depending on the needs of my client. And so so what I tell people is that mediumship and psychic work, it's kind of like if I were a radio, AM is psychic, FM is mediumship. So they require different frequencies, different levels of concentration, all that stuff. So most clients come to me for that predominantly. I also offer numerology. I've always been a big numbers geek. And so I love doing numerology readings, and I feel like they can really help people with their life path. As far as identifying, maybe are you in the right spot that you should be? Are you, what is your soul's purpose, and kind of identifying, because some people feel like they're lost on their path, or not, maybe they're bummed out with their career, or they feel like just life isn't as exciting as they thought it would be. And sometimes it's because you're on the wrong path entirely. So I do numerology sessions that are really good with that. I do past life readings. Past life readings are really good for identifying, like, if you have any habits, patterns, cycles, anything in general that maybe in this life you have no realization as to. Like, for instance, like I have this really innate fear of drowning. I love the water. I don't mind going in it, but I'm still terrified that I'm going to drown. And I have a pretty distinct feeling based on some past life readings I've had that I either suffocated in a past life or drowned or something along those lines. I wouldn't be surprised if I've had it more than once. And that's why I have this fear, even though there's nothing in this life that's caused it. And so that's why, when I have clients who come to me and say, I really want to process and work through this issue that I've got, I usually start with past life and then work our way forward, because there can also be compounding things in this life as well. But I usually like to take a look backwards and kind of step forward. So I offer those services. I also do astrology readings. I do not consider myself an astrologist. What I tend to do is I will pull in your astrology and your personality and your numbers and kind of pull that in also with your spirit guides. So I kind of do what I call like a spiritual potpourri type reading when I do an astrology, as opposed to, I know some wonderful astrologists where they'll put together a whole chart with all your houses and planets. And I think that's great for someone like myself who understands about the planets and things like that. But most people aren't that well versed, so I don't always know how helpful it is for certain people, unless you have an astrologer that's really good at explaining it. So that's where I kind of do mine in a different way. And then in general, just any other type of psychic readings, like connecting with spirit guides, helping people connect with them, because my goal is that I like to help my clients feel empowered, so that they don't feel like the only way they can communicate with their loved ones or their spirit guides is through me, because I don't believe that that's true. So I always give my clients any kind of tools or tips that I can to promote and empower them to be able to connect. Because at the end of the day, it's their loved ones, not mine. And I don't want them to feel like they can only connect to them through me. It might be a different experience connecting through me, but at least in that way, they have an ability as well.
Well, it's gotta be a bit draining for you, right? Like the energy that you have to put into it. Maybe not. Maybe I'm speaking from something that when I do my thing, it's draining. How does it take away from your natural self?
So, well, I kind of have to separate like my natural self from channeling, but in general, it's kind of hit and miss. There are some times where after a session, I'm just buzzing and I'll be up for hours, and I see all my clients at night. So sometimes I'll have a client that I'll wrap up at, 9, 10 o'clock, and then I'm up till 2 because it was just a really good session, or my connection was really strong. And then I just, because my vibration is just higher at that point in time from an hour of channeling. So I would say it's draining, yes, but there are other times where it's not as draining. It's really more, I get more of a buzz from it, really. So
that's what's up. That's what's up right there. I do want to go slightly cryptic for the moment, and this has nothing to do with you, Chelsea, but I have a good friend Jillian on here right now. Jill, she called me a cryptic bitch yesterday. All right, think about that one. So, all right, as we go further, you're gonna do some things tonight, readings, and in a moment, actually, I'm having some technical difficulties, and
Seems to be a tough night.
seems to be a tough night. But I think that it seems like it's a Monday, but it may be a Tuesday. For what? Genevieve?
Oh, are we going into the creepy parlor? Is that what you're doing?
Why you gotta ruin it for everyone?
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
So, not to put me on the spot, but my show is tomorrow night at 7:00, which I at some point would love to talk with you about having you on.
Absolutely.
That's the creepy parlor. But not to disrupt our flow of conversation, because I think it's absolutely amazing what you're doing. The thing that really is draws me in is how much you help people.
That's certainly my intention. I mean, you know, and here's the thing is that I have a lot of good friends that are psychics and mediums. I know I work with some phenomenal ones here locally, and I do notice that there are times where there are people that aren't going to be satisfied with their services, but it tends to be people who come into the reading wanting a very specific answer to a very specific question. And if the answer is not what they were expecting, then they're unsatisfied. And so that's, you know, I don't want to dive too much and divulge anyone's personal lives, but because what I do, I consider it I consider I do not only sacred, but very private, keeping people's information. But yeah, but some people will come with a certain expectation, or maybe they want a certain type of apology from their loved one, or maybe the answer that they get it's the apology they wanted, but maybe not as heartfelt as that, you know, and that's the thing is that I do my very best. And at that point in time, if my client doesn't connect with it, or my client, it's not what they wanted at that point, I can only be so responsible for it. So I don't let that stuff beat me up. But most of the time, I can tell a lightness, and I can usually see a shift in people after they've worked with me, regardless of what kind of session. So like I said, I'm not perfect. I certainly make mistakes, but I do my best to help out clients. So
no, I think that's amazing. And I think that it's so underestimated what psychics and mediums do for people. And I just think it's a wonderful gift. And I love that you share it with people. It's beautiful. So thank you for doing the work that you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you. I do feel like I mean, in a way, it's a form of therapy. And I do have people where they'll come to me after, you know, like they lose a spouse, let's say, and they'll say, you know, I went to therapy for a year and it did nothing. And I had 3 sessions with you. And I feel like I can wrap my mind around this now, you know, because to me, it's not about giving clients closure. It's about empowering people to work through the grief. That's really what I feel like I do. I never use the word closure in the setting of working with a client in a session, because you're not closing a door, moving a chapter. You're just readjusting your life to the new way of communicating with your loved ones.
That's beautiful.
At least that's how I look at it. That's my soapbox.
That's beautiful. Absolutely.
All right,
beautiful.
We're back to Monday night. Real Talk with Tom. We're out of the creepy parlor for just a moment. Chelsea, I have a question from a really good friend of ours, Ryan Hudson. When and how did you get started?
How did I get started? You know what? It's actually so. I think that could be a dual question. If we mean when did I get started with clients, that's a funny story of how that happened. How I got started as far as knowing my gift, when I was in this ghost hunting group that I was in, we had the pleasure of investigating a place here. I don't know if I can name drop, but I'm going to, Mission Mill. And it's a big museum here. It's actually very popular for like weddings, senior photos. It's a very picturesque, really beautiful museum. It was the first wool mill that was built here in Salem when the capital was established. And so it's terribly haunted, super haunted. I've had several friends who've gotten married there and had experiences. I had an experience there one time when I was attending a wedding or in a wedding. And so we were allowed to do an investigation. And because the curators were friends with the 2 people that ran our ghost hunting group. And so we were doing an investigation that night. and we were taking EVPs and pictures, and I want to say we had dowsing rods, a couple other little tools, no major serious tools like what I work with now, but and so I remember we were in the top story of this 2-story house that's on the property, and we were asking questions, you know, just like a typical EVP. You ask the question, you give it like 10 seconds of silence, see if they respond. And as we were sitting there, you know, we knew that a little girl had died, but we just knew her name. We didn't know how old she was. We were just kind of asking little prompting questions. And so one of the questions we asked was, you know, we said, hey, Sarah, you know, if you're here, can you please tell us how old you were when you passed? And, you know, we give it a few seconds, whatever, and then we move on with our other questions. So when we're reviewing our EVP a few minutes later, you hear me, when we do the recorder, we asked Sarah how old she was when she passed. There's a little bit of silence. And then you hear a little girl go 7. And then you hear me right after go, I just heard 7. And then the gal who was with me goes, I didn't hear anything. And I was like, huh, okay, weird. I didn't think anything of it. And until we went to review, and that's when everyone was like, oh my God, you're a medium. And I was like, no, I'm probably more like a large. But and I totally, but I mean, you're talking like this was 14 years ago. So this was before Long Island Medium. This was before all of it was really kind of out there and available. So I had no clue. So that was really kind of so that was kind of how I got started and figured out I was a medium to get me on that path. As far
so
as
when you had that experience, did you kind of link it back to like being a kid and having seen ghosts and things like that or spirits when you were a child, or was it like a revelation, or was it like?
It wasn't a revelation. It made sense. It was like, yeah, that's what this is. Okay. Because I always knew I could do it. And when I had my gift really kicked on when I was probably 15 or 16. But I always thought that because when I feel or sense spirit, I don't always hear a different voice. Sometimes it's more of like just conscious thought that's being like put in my head. That's the best way for me to describe it. And so they don't always necessarily have a voice. And so I was in a car accident that I probably should have died in years and years ago when I was like 16. And that was when it kicked on. That was the first time I ever heard spirit like talk to me where I couldn't see them. And I just remember getting ready to go into this accident because I could see what was going to happen. And I was like, I think we're going to get out. And then all of a sudden, like this male's voice came through and was like, you're going to be in an accident. You're going to be okay. You just need to take care of everyone. And before I could even process what I did, I was like, what the? And then boom, we hit. Ooh. So that was when it kicked on. That was when I really started getting more messages, more information, just in general, knowing more details. Like it might have went from prior to that, I might have been able to look at someone and go, oh, you have a grandfather that passed. Okay, to you have a grandfather that passed from the heart attack, but he also had the other health condition that was taking him down, blah, blah, to where I could go and do more stuff. And just over the years, it's really built upon that. So that was really, I don't know if that answers his question, if that was what he meant by how I got started, but that's how I figured it out.
Well, you went into depth of everything of what you are. So I do want to go into comments and things here too. Like I just want to get right to the point here. I see viewers, I see hearts, I see likes. I also see an angry face. And honestly, I don't know who the angry face is, but I honestly don't give a shit. If you don't like it, don't watch. Go and do the other shows. Honestly, straight up. So fuck out of here and go check out the other shows. Other than that, let's keep moving.
Sure.
All right, Chelsea, what you got for us? You said that you have readings?
I could do readings. I usually read by question, like if someone has a question. So either you guys or a viewer, or I have cards if you'd rather a general card reading. And then when I do the card, if anything else pops up, I'll discuss that as well.
Well, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Genevieve and I first.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know if I'm ready for
this. Do you have a question?
Rob Carter says, we think she's great. And you are, Chelsea. You are great.
Thank you.
And well, the way we'll end this is you are a published author. So there's going to be another show that we're doing, and I'll get into this towards the end, as I'm going to ask you back on to do, a reading of your book.
Okay.
And we all kind of talk as authors together. It's going to be a fun night. And Rob Carter, Robin Joan, actually, from the Haunted Happy Hour, which Jen and I, or Jen, actually, I can't say Jen and I here. Genevieve actually is the one to bring us all together.
You were a pretty heavy hitter there, so take credit where credit's due.
We're good.
Yeah, I would love to. That book was interesting. It was a fun project. I would love the opportunity to do it again.
It'll happen, and we're going to do that night. And actually, that night, I'm just going to introduce it right now. I will forever have a co-pilot heater, and that is Genevieve. But that night, Rob and Joan, for the author's night, they will co-host with me. And I said, there's nobody that's going to have the title of co-pilot but Genevieve, but they will co-host with me.
I'm excited for that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Carter Novels, that's where it is.
Yep.
Go find them at Carter Novels. So, I'll introduce you, Chelsea, to them, and
okay,
just good people.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Indeed. So, into Genevieve and I, as far as our readings. I don't have a question. I'm ready for.
If you don't have a question, I'll pull a card then. Because that usually, because here's the thing is when I get clients who come to me and they'll sit down and just say, just read me whatever you want, which is fine. I don't mind doing that.
Ellie Nicole. Sorry, I thought it was Ellie. It says L Nicole says she wants one. She goes, may I get one? Actually, she asked very polite. I love that when you say
that is very polite. Yeah, I would say
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, can you put her first? And
sure.
Yeah. She goes, may I get a reading? Things like that.
Does she have? Okay, so I can pull her a card.
Let's ask her real quick.
If she has a question, or I can do a general reading with a card. It's up to her.
Elle, do you want a question or a general card? We're going to put it on hold to answer real quick, just so you get what you want. You were very polite about it.
You passed the test.
Well, no, doing the reading is passing the test. I can talk all day. So.
Oh no, I meant the politeness. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, there's no testing you. I can see it all.
Well, because we can't wait all night. Just pull a card for her, and then you have another one in sight. Kenny Biddle.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So the cards that I pulled for Elle. I don't know if I hold the card up, can they see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
make sure, because I prefer to hold it up for the people. So the card you got is the Poised card. So when I get this card, this is a really positive one. This usually means that right now there's something in your life that's either on the precipice of getting ready to happen, or it's starting to happen and you just need to be prepared for it. This card is always reflecting something that's good coming your way. So I don't necessarily feel like it's money. It might be more of pertaining to like school or career type stuff. But the Poised card to me really represents you're poised and in a really good position to accept this and to move forward with what's coming your way. And to because I keep hearing, don't question it if it feels too good to be true, or if it's feeling like it's going too smoothly for you. Some people do that and then inadvertently manifest negative stuff their way because they go, oh, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. And then Spirit's like, well, here's a shoe. Let's drop it. So I always tell people, if life's going really smoothly, take it, accept it, and run with it. So that's what this card usually means for me. The other thing I see is it's card number 48. So 4 + 8 numerology is 12. 1 + 2 is 3. Again, 3 to me is a number that has to do with harmony and peacemaking and numerology. And so what I pick up from that is that if you feel like your life's in a little bit of chaos, again, this card is saying you're poised to be in a position where things are going to seem more in your control. So hopefully that resonates.
That's what's up. Elle said, thank you, Chelsea. I hope I got her name right. Joe Almey's on. Hey, my friend, how are you? You got a lot of people hitting right now. They want readings, and guess what? This is the whole point of this right now. It's opportunity for everything. So you ready to pull more cards? Because I got a whole list right now.
Yeah, I think Kenny next.
Kenny Biddle is now.
Is there a question or a card?
He just pull a card. He's WLFEDB family. I hope I get fired for saying WLFEDB real quick.
We've only said it 3 times tonight, so
I know. So yeah, Kenny, this is you.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's around that 6. Yep. Okay. Sorry, I like to look at the cards sometimes because I can pick up different things. So the cards all come with booklets. I never read the booklets. I go with what they say. So Kenny, the card that I pulled for you, I got the Blessed card. Okay. So when I get this card in a reading, it can mean a couple different things. For you in particular, I feel that, I don't know if you feel like you're in a slump lately, or maybe you feel like you're trapped or don't have many options, or feel like we're trying to get out of this place, but this card is coming to you to remind you that you're exactly where you need to be and that you have a blessed life, even if the blessings seem like curses. Because so often people go, God, why did that happen to me? Why did, blah, 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 and it's like, I've had opportunities where I got let go from a job only for like a week later to get hired something making almost double the money. And if I hadn't gotten let go of, I would have never had that opportunity. So I don't always look at the negative as a negative. Maybe I'm just too cheery and too full of sunshine. I don't know. But when I get the Blessed card, though, I think this is just a reminder for you that if you feel like life is kind of coming down on you right now, or it seems a little bit harsh, just know that there are blessings that will be revealed because of this dark time that's going on with you. The other thing with this card is this is 22, which is a master number. So any of the doubles, 11, 22, and 33, those are the master numbers in numerology. 2 + 2 is 4, which also has to deal with being broken down to your core and your foundation, things being shaken up, but that ultimately you have a foundation to build upon. So hopefully that makes sense as far as moving forward, that if you feel like you're in a funky place, just know that you've got a good foundation, and it's never a bad idea to sometimes get back to basics and rebuild your life a little bit or improve things that you already have going on for you.
I want to say this real quick. Before you jumped on with Kenny, he said he had a question here. You answered it. I'm only speaking for myself right now. His question was this. There's a specific opportunity I've been waiting to come my way, wondering if it will happen. You think you just answered that for Kenny Biddle? I think you just answered it.
Yeah,
all right?
The blessed card is, to me, that's saying that there's a blessing coming if it isn't already here.
Kenny, love you. All right, on to the next. Let's go. Ready for another card?
Yeah.
All right. Joe Almy wants one. Let's pull one for Joe. He goes, I'd like a card reading as well, please. Joe Almy.
Okay, Joe. And people are welcome to ask questions too, and I'll do my best to answer them.
And he said thank you. He appreciates your time. That's what's up.
You're welcome. Hopefully that resonates with you. Okay. So, Joe. Okay. So we've got a few things here. So the card that I pulled for you, I got the happy card. Okay. And some people will see this card and they'll immediately go, yep, you know what? I've got a lot of good stuff going in my life. That makes a ton of sense. With you, I feel like we're on a path to finding happiness. The thing is, though, is that I feel like we still have to open some more doors to get there. Because when I first looked at your card, initially, when I get this card, because I work with this deck a lot, initially, I will see the balloons first. In this case, if you can see it, I saw the lock and key that's in the little egg that she's standing on right here. And so that's why I like to look at these cards, because I'll hone in on different things that tells me what direction I'm going to go with this card. And for you, I feel like there's some stuff that's locked behind doors. So whether that's issues that we haven't dealt with, or priorities, or maybe like we have debt that we need to pay off in order to get to a better place in our life. But I keep feeling like for you, there's more doors we need to go through before we get to a point of being happy. So I just want you to know, at least that this is what I keep hearing from my guides, is that there is happiness that's coming down the road for you. It's just a matter of you have to take care of your due diligence first. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense.
All right. So Ryan and Andy want a reading as well, but I do want to go back a few steps because these comments are coming in quick. I wanted to save this one for last, but I won't. Tom Nally wants a reading, and I feel like it's now.
Wait, and what's the first name?
Tom Nally, our friend.
Okay. Is that the one who just lost someone?
Indeed. Joe says, yes, that makes good sense. And that's an appreciation for it. Thank you. You're right on point. I have a Jessica McKinnon here, a great friend of mine, So yes,
Okay.
we're gonna run right along. But Ryan and Annie are next. But I definitely want Tom Nally.
I want to get to Tom. I have to ask though, is
Just
the person that he lost a male?
no.
Because it might be for another viewer then, but there's a male, or it could be for one of you guys too. There's just a male that's starting to step forward. And then I want to see, because now I'm really curious. I want to see if I could see the problem with mediumship channeling, especially in the forum where you can see the person and I don't know the responses, because then I don't know if I'm totally off or not. Was the person, the female that passed, that's in connection to him, I keep feeling like her passing was sudden but not unexpected. So when I hear that, that can mean like they had a health issue. We knew that they were not doing well, but that the passing itself was maybe not expected. Does that make sense?
That's up to Tom. He's got. I'm going to give him. As that's being said, I want to say Adam Autry is on, one of my good friends from here, and I want to rep his son real quick. His son is going to go far within fighting jiu-jitsu. He's part of Cobra Kai. Adam's father taught me martial arts. He's somebody that helped build me, and his son's going far. Adam Autry's son Jaden. So yeah, I have his back. So I'm giving Tom Nally to answer within that time. I just wanted to rep that. And Jaden, I'm proud of you, my friend. Yes.
So that would make sense to him. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I keep feeling like there's this. How do I say this? There's so much here, and then because one of the things that I keep feeling like is that even though we knew it was coming, we were still not prepared for it. And granted, like, I know that seems kind of vague, because whose passing are we really prepared for? But there's some people who can get to more of a place of peace. And I don't even feel like we had the opportunity to get to a place of peace because of how unexpected it was. Does that make sense? So, and then the other, I just want to leave it at this, because if I can't talk to them face to, or at least like see some of the responses, and that's the thing, that's the challenging thing I think about going live in a forum where you're chatting, is I don't mind doing it, but I feel like the response time is so long, and when I'm channeling, spirit's talking like this, and I just can't remember it all. It's tough.
You're right.
So, the only other thing that I keep hearing is that I don't know if she was unconscious or unable to communicate, but there's the covering of the mouth that I keep seeing in connection with her. So I don't know if we can validate, because there's the connection with either someone not being able to say goodbye the way they wanted to, or not being able to communicate.
Tom Nally says yes. You're on point.
Okay. So I want to go back to, like, there's the wondering if, like, she didn't get to hear us say goodbye, or is knowing, and I just want to pass this along really quickly, because I know this isn't going to be a full reading, and I just want to at least get out this one thing is that I don't know what this means, but take it as she knows you tried to be there for her as much as you possibly could be. And the other part of it I keep hearing is that she wasn't afraid to cross. So she doesn't feel like she suffered. So I'll say that much.
All right.
So
thank you.
Let me know if that resonates. Let me know if that resonates with him. I know that's not a lot, but it's kind of funky. It's kind of funky doing it with a chat room.
I get it. Yeah. And it just is what it is. Can we go on to Ryan and Annie? And then I want to get a Jessica McKenna in there as well. I'm going to butcher this name. I know it. Eve Brown. That makes sense? Eve.
I don't know. Okay, so wait. So
I butcher it, my bad.
Let's start with Ryan and Annie, because I can't
Ryan and
remember
Annie
their names.
first.
And they're both wanting a separate card.
Let's do that one together, because they're a couple, and they're friggin' awesome people. Tom says thank you.
Does that make sense to him though? I sure hope it does.
It all resonates. That's his last words that he says on here right now.
Awesome. Okay, that's all. I know it's brief, and I feel bad that I can't give more than that. I can't. It's just with the delay. I mean, like, they start showing me pictures and stuff, and it's wild. So
I'll get you guys in touch. He's a good dude. I love him to death.
Very cool. So here's the deal. The card that I got for Ryan and Annie, I got the Not For You card. Okay. I know it's kind of a funky one. So this one depicts what looks like a chess table, and then we've got I love it because we've got a fortune cookie and a little fortune sticking out. It says nope. So couldn't be more clear. So if there is a project or you're considering a move or thinking about a job or there's something that you guys are considering as a couple as far as like some kind of change in your life, this card is saying not for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that don't ever do it. It might just mean right now the timing is poor, depending what it is. Because some people will get this card in conjunction with asking a question like, should I change careers or should I move now? And usually I'll say, this card says no, you can move, just maybe wait 6 months. Wait. And at that point in time, if there's a follow-up question, I ask their guides, like, when should they move then? But in this case, just be mindful if there's any changes or any uprooting of any kind that you're considering doing right now, that the timing right now is not good for at least the next couple months. So hopefully that makes sense.
They just wrote Annie. She has a specific question, and okay. I have no idea where this would go. Her reading, she would like, I'd like one in relation to my son, dash Annie, which means she's asking that. I don't know what that means, but
she would need to be more specific.
Okay. All right.
So I would just need to know, like, is there a specific question that she has about a situation, or is the son on the other side, or what? That would be the only thing I need to know.
I understand. All right. So until we get that, now I know this one girl, Jessica McKenna. Pull a card for her. She's never been, I don't think she's ever seen this show before. And she goes, I'm intrigued, but pull a card for her and let's see where it is.
Okay. Okay. So got another master card. Okay, so this is for Jessica. So I got the Chaos and Conflict card. Okay, so this one's
that looks like a fun card.
It is. It's a really fun card. So this one depicts a zebra that's basically covered in giraffe print. So that right there to me kind of represents the chaos because it kind of messes with your mind a little bit. So excuse me. Oh my God. Excuse me. So when I get this card in a reading, this one usually means you've got some conflict or conflicting ideas. So it doesn't mean that we're going to get in a fight with anyone or, expect to get in a brawl at a Target parking lot or anything like that. Nothing like that kind of conflict.
That's me.
But it might mean that you've got conflicting ideas that are about ready to come up for you. Could be at work, maybe where you have an opinion and another coworker has another opinion and you guys have to find compromise, and that's part of the conflict. But just know that there's going to be, I wouldn't go as far as saying like a big flurry of negative conflict or negative chaos or anything like that, but that I feel like the next month or so for you, things are going to get shaken up a little bit.
Well, Jessie, there's for you. I call her Jessie because she's a good friend. So I hope that makes sense, Jessie. So your sister's being awfully demanding.
My sister?
Yeah.
Oh, she's a punk.
All right. So I believe the name was Eve, or Eve has to come first. I'm gonna make Jillian wait.
Uh-oh. She's not gonna stay up much longer, so.
All right. Well, I have to go this way first. Hold on. Okay. This Jessie goes, yikes, haha. I know her. I'll always have chaos and conflict in my life. No, you don't, girl. Shit. I do want to. This is a serious one right here. Chelsea, and then her name is Chelsea as well.
Oh well, she's got a fabulous name. So does she spell it the right way though, or the wrong way?
It's Chelsea Atten. She goes, my fiance passed away a few years ago, and I was wondering if Chelsea could tell me if he's okay.
So the first thing is his passing was sudden or unexpected. I don't feel like there was any kind of preparation or knowledge of his passing or what was going to go on. At least that's what I'm being shown. I'm human. I can always be wrong, but I keep seeing the snapped fingers. So to me, that means very sudden or unexpected. And is there questions about either, I don't know what this means, but like I keep hearing something about either if there was questions about were they alive, were they able to hear us, and sometimes that can mean like someone's on life support or there's something like that. And so I don't know how to interpret that other than someone keeps mentioning or saying something along the lines of,
well, she just wrote it was very unexpected.
Perfect. Okay. But I just keep feeling like there's concern over whether God, what's that mean? Either there was a brain activity issue or something. So I don't know if maybe they got on the scene and there was a little bit of activity, or he had a pulse, or if there was something, but I want to keep going there with that. That's going to drive me nuts. But the only thing that I do feel obviously sudden, unexpected. He also did not suffer. And I always feel bad when spirit comes forward and says, yeah, it was painful. I suffered for like 30 minutes. I always feel bad to get those. So I always let people know, just a warning, I don't filter what spirit says. He is okay. He's on the other side. And then I don't know if in connection with her, if there's a J name, but I keep seeing the letter J in conjunction with him. And then there's also the connection with either 6 or June.
Okay. Chelsea, I see your comment on here, and I'm not going to mention that to the world because this is everyone can hear this. I could read your comment, and trust me, I'm sorry for that, and I just don't want everyone to hear the reason. But Chelsea, and my heart's with you with that. So yeah, I just don't want.
Let me know if.
I'm gonna connect you with her later because I don't want to put that to the world. It's not my business, nor the world.
What I do is a sensitive subject, so I totally understand.
Now,
I just hope those other things connect with her, so that I was picking up on too.
Yeah, I'll make sure that. Matter of fact, Genevieve, co-pilot, write down this name, Chelsea Atten, and we'll get them in touch.
What's the last name?
Aten.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll get them in touch. But we have. I want to do 2 more. I want to go back to Eve real quick with a card, and then I want to do Jillian. But before we go into them, I don't mean to actually do Eve. Do Eve real quick, and then I'm going to hold off on Jillian just for spite.
Oh, she's gonna
kill me.
Your turn. Yep. You know what, Chelsea? Jillian? I'm just throwing out there, Jillian, that I have no say in this, and that I would be happy to read you. This is all on Dom. I claim none of this.
I want to say one thing. Chelsea says thank you, and she says sorry. Never be sorry. Never be sorry for you asking questions and things like that. You are always friends with us, and we will make sure that you are okay. You always have a place here on Real Talk with Don, with Chelsea and Genevieve. Never be sorry, and I'm sorry it happened. That situation happened in your life. Our heart's with you, my friend. So, move on with that. Pull one for Eve. I'm sorry if I destroyed the name, like I said. So.
How's it spelled?
It's Eve Brown. It's YVE Brown. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, but I hope she gets what she wants here.
Okay, so the card that I pulled is Treasure Island. So this card is a fun one because it depicts basically a sea turtle with this beautiful treasure on its back. And when I get this card in a reading, this means that if you're seeking something, whether that's, personal power, or maybe it's a career thing, or more money coming in, or whatever it looks, or love, whatever. I usually tell people that when this card pops up in a reading, it's letting you know that you already have everything that you need to be able to move forward to get this so-called treasure or thing that you're seeking. It's just a matter of getting there. So, oftentimes people will come to me and I'll do a reading and they'll go, that's so funny. Or they'll come to me for like their love life, let's say, and I'll pull this card and I'll be like, is there any friends nearby that you have been thinking of or have a crush on? Because it usually means it's right under your nose. That's usually what this card represents. So with that said, if there's anything that you're trying to move forward and accomplish, or there's any goals that you want, it means that look under your nose first, because it might be that you're just trying to find a different way to, get into a different career, but maybe you need to go to school and use the brain that you already possess to be able to get there. Do you see what I'm kind of saying? Like, This is really just encouraging you to look within, because you're the source and you have the keys to get to the treasure that you're trying to get to. So hopefully that makes sense.
It does. I do have a comment here in a moment. We're gonna get Jillian next, but just so you know the question afterwards, Joan, our friend Joan, Carter Novels, she wants to know if you could say something about her spirit guides.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do the card first, because I like to answer a question right after I'm asked it. So
sure.
So are we doing the question for Joan, or are we doing something for Jillian?
Do Joan right now, because I want to get yelled at by Jill.
Oh, you are building it up.
Okay. So as far as Joan's question with spirit guides, so here's the thing, is that when it comes to spirit guides, I can usually get a count of how many people have. When I tune into your energy, I feel like right now you've just got 2. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then I always tell people, when it comes to the amount of spirit guides, size doesn't matter. Sometimes people just have 1 hanging around. Sometimes you might have 5 or 6. So it really just depends on the situation. What I tend to find with spirit guides, though, is that they'll pop into your life for different times and different reasons. So for instance, everyone is born with a master guide. So you always have one. That person is with you from your first breath to your last. That's the end of the story. As far as what can happen with other guides, some guides can be loved ones that you lost and they've chosen to be a guide for you, as opposed to just a loved one hanging out on the other side. Other times you'll have guides that will come in and out. So what I tell people, for instance, is, when you're 8 or 9 years old, you're not going to have a career guide or a love guide, or even probably a spiritual awakening type guide, because those aren't useful to you at that point in time. So that's where, in my opinion, I find that spirit guides kind of ebb and flow depending on your current needs at that time. So yeah, so as far as like knowing your guides, I know you've got 2 right now. I don't know if you're on a big path to a spiritual awakening, but you've obviously got your master guide. But I actually feel like the second guide you're connected to, because I keep seeing my sign for spirituality. And so I feel like your second guide is here to kind of help you on this spiritual awakening. So whether it's an awakening that you've been putting off, or an awakening that you're just now coming into, I feel like that's what that guide is here to help you with. And now I'm curious, what's so funny?
I am getting yelled at by
He's
Jill.
getting yelled at by my sister.
And that's what's funny. I'm sorry. It had nothing to do with that. I'm just getting yelled at by Jill.
Like a little kid. He's like a little kid.
I know. She's like playing on that VW, being on the block. And I was just like, all right. Because I planned on putting Boo in the fire. I threatened to throw Boo in the fire. And she's like, I plan on riding the streets if Boo goes. So as I'm going through, I'm getting yelled at. I could see all of it, and she's like, "Oh my god!" and playing on that VW to be on the block. So, all right, let's pull Jillian's card.
It's about time.
She goes church giggles. I love her. Oh my god.
It's gonna kill you.
Oh yeah, totally. My ass is kicked.
Okay. So the card that I got for Jillian is, I got the Unfinished Symphony card. So this card is representative of, if you're in a place in your life where maybe we took a break, could be from school. It could have been there was maybe a path or some spiritual path you were on and you decided to take a break from it. Maybe you took a break from work to start a family and now it's time to go back. But whatever it is, this card comes to you to remind you that there's still work to be done. You don't get to just go like this and move forward. We have to close some doors before we can continue to move forward in life. So, and sometimes this doesn't even have to do with opportunities. It can be more of like emotional things that we haven't dealt with, where people are like, all clients come to me and they'll say, when I pull this card, they'll go, what does this have to do with my relationship? And I'm like, well, you're still dealing with the trauma and PTSD from your relationship from 6 years ago. And that's why you can't have a healthy one now, is you haven't dealt with that. It's an unfinished symphony. So you have to finish it, even if it's ugly or painful or whatever. You have to be able to move forward and do that. So with that card, or with that said, this card is basically urging you to do some inventory, take a look at your life right now and what's going on, and what are some things that you've left unfinished or unresolved, because you're not going to be able to fully move forward until we take care of business. Hopefully that makes sense.
Wow. Booyah. All right, before we get into it, there's another serious question here, but I just want to take a slight break because people are engaging here, and this is great. This is everything. This is the whole point of this. But within the realm of reality, with everything, Jillian says thank you, and she goes, "It does make sense." Rob and Joan also said yes, thank you. Now, I definitely want to say this for anyone who doesn't believe, you're hitting a lot of hearts, aren't you?
Yay! Show us some love.
And that's what's up. So before we go into more, I want to take this time out for you, Chelsea. Tell people how to get a hold of you.
Oh, so if you want to get a hold of me, my website is really complicated. It's mediumchelsea.com. So I made it really tricky so people wouldn't be able to remember it. So mediumchelsea.com. You can also schedule there. You can look at the different types of appointments and sessions that I offer. And I also do on each description on my website, I have a breakdown of like all the different services that I offer and what to expect and not expect in those specific types of readings. Because some people will have those questions like, well, what's the difference? And, what can I expect out of these sessions? So I have that broken down. And like I said, you can schedule. I tend to book about a month out. I know I'm looking at like second-ish week of February right now that I'm booked out to. That's pretty normal. I always tell people that, I'm worth waiting for. Well, I think I am. I'm just kidding. That sounds totally vain.
Well deserved.
But even mediumship aside, I think that I'm a lot of fun to hang out with. So, but with that, so people can reach me there. You can find me on Facebook, Medium Chelsea. Super difficult, but that's my Facebook business page as well. Kind of like what we're doing tonight with the free lives. I try to do these once a month at least. Just to it's my way of like giving back to people, because I do believe there are some people where they just need a quick message from their loved one. They don't need a full session, or, maybe that night they're going through or that week they're in a funky place. And then my reading, hopefully with the intention, is something that will perk them up or give them a little bit of hope. And really that's what I give back for, is for that opportunity. So I feel like I was blessed with this gift. And so while I do it for work, I also do this to help people. So I try to find little opportunities to do that when I can.
I did just put your Facebook link and your website in the comments for.
Awesome. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to go into this first question, but Jessica McKenna wants to know something else in a moment. That one hits home with me as well, and we'll get into that in a minute. So give me a second on that one, Jesse, and I'll ask. But first, I want to go. All right. This is from Donna Biddle. Are you ready, Chelsea?
I'm ready.
Everything's getting deep now. My friend Diana lost her husband and is having a very difficult time right now. Is there something I can relay to her to help comfort her?
So the first thing I would say, it's tough because I can't channel when it's not channeling for someone directly, because how do I say this? It's almost like an ethical thing. So because it's not the wife asking. So what I'll do is I'll say this much: remind her that her husband is safe and at peace. I don't have to channel to know that. The other thing that I pick up on is that I do think that he's doing things around the house to be able to say hi, but she's in a really funky place with grief. So I don't think that she always notices. Has he passed within the last 2 years? Can we validate that?
When she writes back. Yeah, when she writes back.
I want to know if he's passed less than 2 years. And the other thing, I keep seeing my sign for in the calendar. So I hear the boom, boom, which when I see that on a calendar, it usually means that someone passed really close to either a significant date, birthday, could be a holiday, and it's usually within 2 weeks.
She says yes.
Okay. So hopefully that all makes sense, but I also keep going with like the birthday thing that I keep seeing. Yeah, because now I'm seeing the yellow roses, which symbolizes birthday or anniversary to me. So I'm just curious if the spouse passed really closely with an important date or something like that, because I keep feeling like there's this sense of feeling like we rained on somebody's parade or made a time that would normally be joyous, that we've kind of made it like a sad occasion. So I don't know if that fits as well. Please let me know, Donna. But as far as what you can do, I think remind her that, this is actually a blanket statement for everyone who's listening tonight, is earlier when I was talking about having the ability to empower clients and empower people to communicate with their loved ones, I'll tell you, I have to communicate the same way with my loved ones, because true mediums, and this is just my opinion, there might be some mediums listening that would not agree. I believe that the true mediums that are here to be healers and the ones that are legitimate, we're not able to communicate with our loved ones. The few that I know that are very legitimate, even Teresa Long Island medium will say she can't communicate with her loved ones. Even mediums need mediums. So that's the thing that I keep hearing is that it's time to reach out and for her to communicate with them. So you can ask your loved ones for signs or symbols. I always tell people, when you do that, make sure to ask a yes or no question. If you ask really ambiguous ones like, are you happy? Will I ever be happy? Or things like that. To me, that's like spirit goes, well, do you mean happy now, next week, or 6 years from now? Like, where are we asking? So try to be as specific as you can in your question. And then ask for a corresponding symbol to that, such as, if this guy that I'm dating is the one that I should marry, please show me a butterfly or show me a rainbow or whatever. And I usually say give spirit about a week. And if you don't see the symbol, then that means the answer is no. So, and that's for anybody. Anybody can do that. And that's how I even have to communicate with my own loved ones, is asking signs and symbols like that, or bugging my best friends that are mediums and saying, I need a freebie.
The next question hits close to home for me. And you guys can see on the screen, right? I don't even want to read this because
it's not on the screen.
It will be.
There we go. Is this the mutual friend of yours?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Jesse's like family to me, and then I know the person she's talking about. I didn't want to talk about it because it bothers me.
Because you'll get choked up. Yes, that's fine. So here's the thing. So what would be the connection with, so you can answer these questions about Candace, right? So I don't have to wait for Jessica.
I can see everything. Jesse is on here watching, but she wants to know.
Do you know the situation with Candace well enough where I can just get validation from you, or do I need to wait for Jessica if I start getting stuff?
She would know more, but I know what went down. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I keep seeing is, I keep seeing the past before our time. So this person's young to me. I feel like she's definitely under 40. And the other thing is that, is there the connection with wrong place at the wrong time? Because that's what she keeps writing that like on a chalkboard, is wrong place, wrong time, just over and over, like sentences. And so I don't want to say that she's, how do I say this? I don't want to say she's not at peace, but I still feel like there's this struggle with her taking some accountability for her passing, even though I don't feel that's necessary and she should. Does that make sense?
Jesse says yes.
Okay. So the other thing is that, is there the connection to her with 7 or July? Whether that's to Jesse or
I don't
to the
know.
other guy.
I don't know. Jesse would have to answer that one.
Yeah. So Jesse, if you can let me know about 7 or July. It can also be a quantity of time, like 7 months, 7 years, something like that. I just saw the number 7, and I figured I would call out and bring attention to that. And then as far as, I don't know what's going on here, but with the whole Candace thing, I don't want to, so I always feel like I'm spilling the tea a little bit sometimes in these public readings. So I keep seeing a bottle of spilt pills, which typically means to me either I was taking things that I shouldn't have been, or it can mean I should have been medicated for something, like maybe they had depression, but they were not medicating for it. But that's usually what my spilled pills reference means.
Oh, fuck. All right. So another friend on says her birthday. I understand what that means. And then Jesse came on and just said 7 years since this year she passed.
Perfect. Okay. So
I understand the other one too. And holy shit.
So 7 years is how long she's been passed then.
Yeah, Amber.
Okay.
You know what I mean. I'm saying there, and I want to say this to you. Cheers and cheers to all of you guys. I love you. It's straight up like this all family here right now.
So then is there the connection? What's the connection with the pills?
Self-medicating without alcohol is what Jesse says.
Okay. All right. So
Jess,
as long as that makes sense, that's all I care about. That's just one of the things that I saw.
I definitely want to leave that one there because I gotta get through the entire night too myself. Jesse, you know I love you. So,
but to answer her question overall, she's safe, and I think that she is in a process of finding her peace. I will just say that she's not unhappy. It's more of sometimes spirit has to, because you have to relive and replay kind of what happened in your life when you cross over. And I feel like she's maybe still in a place where, even though there has been that 7 years time, that we're still in a place where she's still wrapping her head around it, if that makes sense.
So are we.
So
all right.
I'm sorry for your loss. I know it's a rough one.
It was just growing up friends, and that's what it is. We're all from the block. So, but moving on to a little bit of something. We're going to take a small break from the readings and things like that. I think it's needed. She goes, "Thank you so much for that." I love you too. You know that. And she says, "Thank you, Chelsea." That's all. What's up?
You're welcome.
So, Genevieve, as we talk real quick, Chelsea's going to stay on with us. We're going to keep moving on to, I think we're going to go right to midnight tonight. But let's take some time out for WLFEDB family. Let's go down to the list of the shows. What do we got? Variety of people. So let's talk about the entire structure.
Well, we had Talk with Teddy, and I'm sorry, we had Power Talk Radio tonight.
Yeah, Power Talk. Love it. With Psychic Cindy, one of my favorite people in the world.
Psychic Cindy, she was awesome.
Kenny Biddle, the Skeptical Health Bar. What else we got? Let's talk about WLFEDB. We got Across the Pond.
Across the Pond. We got the Drag Closet.
Yeah, keep going. Let's run it. Let's tell them all.
Let's see who else we got.
If we forget something, guys, trust me, we hit the ground running, and it's not that we don't pay attention. It's we're on the spot as well. So just the best thing to do is go into WLFEDB, find the shows, and we're going to talk even more and do a little bit. Like, share, and follow the station first.
That really is the best way.
Yep. Robert White says WLFEDB Radio, the best network out there. And he's right. And I love you, brother. I love you. So go find WLFEDB first. Then go to the Creepy Parlor, like and share that. And then go find Real Talk with Dom, like and share that. And then go into all the other stations and then like and share that.
Definitely.
You don't need a video commercial to play. The problem is I have all the video commercials. In reality, I am having technical difficulties here with the internet, and I do not want to mess up. So I had to figure all this out. But we're live and we're staying on, and I'm representing like everybody as I can with the difficulties I have. So my apologies to WLFEDB, and I hope I get fired for saying WLFEDB. But yeah, my apologies in there. I just got to figure out the technical difficulties as we go. So I'll wing it. That's all I can do. My bad, yo. So, Genevieve, you get it, right?
Yep.
Let's talk about the Creepy Parlor for a moment. What's about the days and how'd you get started without bringing it all up?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're not going to go all the way back to it starting. Sure. But yeah, the Creepy Parlor is on at 7 Eastern on Tuesdays.
Did you forget what day? Come on.
This is my first day back to work in like a week and a half. I'm not 100%. So I had like a week and a half of just being like having fun and doing things like drinking.
And now back to the real world, right?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit tweaked. So the Creepy Parlor is my show. I will be on tomorrow night at 7. Tomorrow we are hosting a haunted happy hour, which is essentially how this whole thing got started. We started it back in August, really just a virtual place for people that like ghosts and paranormal things to hang out. And from there, Dom was kind enough to introduce me to Teddy, and it grew from there. Now we've got the Creepy Parlor every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on WLFEDB. There you go.
So this family's good. And
a lot of great shows on this network. A lot of great stuff.
So any kind of angry face I see here, if you don't like me, go to their shows and check them out, because I'm not for everybody, and it is what it is. You could watch me or not, but I do want to take a second real quick to thank everybody who is tuned in tonight and commenting and stuff like that. So yeah, I do appreciate it, and definitely go check out the network first. All right, Chelsea.
All right.
You want to go back into questions with people? I'm going to ask I'll ask something, and before Genevieve and I get our reading at the end. It's freezing in this room, by the way. I'm freezing.
I just want to check in with Chelsea. How are you? Are you okay? Are you like?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
I'm totally fine. This
Good.
isn't as draining to me as like sitting and channeling like for an hour and a half or an hour straight with a client, because I'm not holding the space as long. It's more for like 3 minutes here, 2 minutes here. So this stuff I can do for a couple hours, no biggie. So,
we'll be on all night.
or like gallery readings, because I got a couple good friends. You get to plug your friends, so I'm going to plug mine. But I've got 2 other friends that I'm good friends with here. They're both mediums. One of them is Joshua John De Lorenzo. He's an amazing medium. Like, I'm going to spill his tea a little bit, because you guys have heard of Tyler Henry, right?
Mm-hmm.
The medium. So he won't ever say anything about this. So I always have to make him talk about it. I know right now he's listening going, oh my God, she's telling the story. But so he and Tyler both interviewed for that show, but because JJ didn't want to move to LA, because ew, why would you? No, I'm kidding. But no, he didn't want to move to LA. And so they gave it to Tyler because he was already down there. And so, but he's good. He's an amazing person. I absolutely adore him. So, yeah, so I've got him that I know is listening tonight, and then my other girlfriend Lisa, her name's Lisa Renee Vogel, also a phenomenal medium. She does a lot of cool angel work though. Like, she does stuff with Akashic records and angels and all sorts of stuff that's not my expertise. So when people ask about that, I'm like, I can't, but I can send you to someone who can. And she's also, they're great people. And but I've done gallery readings. Where I was going with that is I've done gallery readings with both of them, and those aren't as draining, because it's like you stick with someone for 5-10 minutes and then you move on to the next and the next and the next. And so it's more of really it's the one-on-one appointments that I think are the most tiring. So no, I'm doing fine, but thank you for asking.
Jen, hold this bitch down real quick. I gotta go get a jacket. It's way too friggin' cold in here. Hold on.
Florida.
I don't care. I gotta go get a jacket. Hold it down and yeah, I'll be right back.
You're never supposed to say I'll be right back. See, I was smart. I have my wrath and everything, because I'm in New Jersey and it's cold here.
Yeah, see, I always attribute the cold stuff to spirit, but because that happens when I channel sometimes, as it gets really cold in the room, so I usually have to be in a blanket and wrapped up. So I get it.
Does it help?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be middle of summer and I'll be sitting there like teeth chattering, wrapped up in a blanket, because I can feel, because spirit will usually come and stand really close to me or just be in the general area around me. So like my clients who kind of sit maybe 10 feet away from me on a couch, their temperature will be totally different just from 10 feet away. And I'll even tell them like, hey, come stand by me and you can feel like your dad's right here. And then they come over and go, oh my God, because you can tell an absolute shift in the energy level. It'll feel more staticky. It's also super cold. So yeah. And just depending on the intensity of the spirit themselves, sometimes it's really cold or really crazy. So I had someone send me a message asking, let's see here. Oh, it's popping up. But someone just put up a message asking like how I first got started. And I think it'd be kind of, or when did I first recognize my gift? Earlier in the show, I talked about how I was really like in 2nd grade when I probably started noticing it. And it was little things like I would see people that looked kind of opaque. Sometimes I would only see them from like the waist up. I wouldn't even see their legs. Hearing little whispers, little noises, or things that were trying to get my attention. But my first reading that I ever did was kind of a funny story. We're talking 10, no, it had to be longer than that, about 12 years ago or so. At the time I used to sell Scentsy because I was like, I need to afford my habit. And so I had a client that was coming over, or well, I shouldn't say client, a person who was coming over to buy some from me, and she'd found me on Facebook. And when she got there, we were kind of going through stuff, and then I heard a pan fall off the counter in my kitchen and just clatter all over the floor. And I was like, and she goes, "Oh God, is someone here?" And I go, "No, I'm by myself." And I go, "It was probably a ghost." Ha ha ha. You know, even though I know that's what it is, but I kind of wanted to test her out. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I believe in all that stuff, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Okay, then can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Because I think there's a female here that wants to connect with you." And I said, I go, "The name is like a P name. It's like PLA, like Pam, like Paula or something." And she goes, "Oh, that's close. My mom's name was Pamela." And I said, "Okay." And I go, "And did she pass sudden or unexpectedly? And what's her connection?" I go, "My dad's birthday is January 14th. And she keeps showing my dad a birthday cake. So she's trying to get me to that date. What happened?" And she said, "That's the day my mom passed." And so I start reading this, and I've never given a reading. I'm literally going based off of just what I've seen Teresa Caputo do on TV. And so I sit here and I start working with her and reading her. And it was maybe like a 30-minute session, but it was just kind of funny how I was literally thrown into it by spirit. So
Well, you had no choice.
no, I didn't. But I think I speak for a lot of mediums when I say sometimes there's just you just feel so compelled to verbalize and say something that you can't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
you're my best friend. But I have trouble with
well, I don't hold back much in general, but especially not with channeling.
Yeah. All right. Well, are you still down to pull cards? Because
Yeah.
we have a couple people. I just want to make sure you're still comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher this name either, but I'll just put it right on screen. This is I noticed names on here, people that are returning, and this looks like somebody new on here. So I'll put it up.
For Kim Lee?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Here.
Kim Lee, this is for you.
So Kim Lee, so the card that I pulled for you, I got the Never Ending Story card. Okay. And so this one depicts what looks like a sad, kind of woeful looking fairy that's perched on top of an hourglass. And so this card to me represents a couple things. So that if you're in a place of despair, sadness, grieving, stress, anxiety, whatever that looks like for you, this is a reminder that this is all short-lived and this too shall pass. And so if you notice in the hourglass, I'll just kind of briefly show the card again, the sand's almost out. Okay. And then we have what's left is like this little heart. And, in the heart, it says like, yes, love. And there's like a little arrow that's pointing to stuff, almost like it's kind of like a little message board type thing. And to me, that just points to, the time is running out for this place of being in a funk or despair, and that coming forward is going to be more love and more happiness. But I just keep hearing like, soldier through this. It's not forever.
Well,
Okay.
Kim Lee, I hope that makes sense. Next one on the line is my aunt, a good friend of the Haunted Happy Hour. She's
Hi, Mary Kate.
supporting Mary Kate. If you could pull a card for Mary Kate, that would be
And
great.
this is your aunt?
It is.
Okay.
There's the question, right?
Please pull a card for your funk. Okay. I don't know how much I'm going to pull for a funk, but I will certainly do my best.
I get what she's saying. I get it.
Yeah.
It's
So here's the thing. I pulled 2 cards. Sometimes what'll happen is if I pull a card out, another card will be stuck to it. And sometimes it's just genuinely stuck. Other times I look at them because actually that was the card I was supposed to pull and I pulled the wrong one. So I always kind of look at both when I get them. So that's what's given to give. So give me like an extra quick second to kind of look. Cause I really feel like it's this one. Okay. So here's the deal is both the cards I pulled, which is interesting because all my cards have different animals, different things on them. Both the cards that I pulled have elephants in them. Okay. And elephants represent, good luck, all of that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was interesting. So the good thing is that I think both cards, either way, the elephants representing good luck, which means more good fortune is coming your way. But the card that I feel speaks to me just a little bit more is the milk and honey card. And so this is, the saying about like having the milk and honey and everything's great and all that good stuff. I feel like there's good stuff happening for you. The problem is that I keep seeing there's this feeling, or maybe it's a tendency to feel like our life is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I don't know if that resonates or makes sense, but I feel like it's like just when we start going forward, then something stops us. And so I just want to remind you that at the end of the day, even if we take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, we've still moved forward a step, and we have to be appreciative and honor and look at that 1 step we took as a blessing. Because what happens is sometimes we'll get in a position where we take a step back we get into a funk about it, then we go into a cycle, then we're manifesting a bunch of stuff, and really this thing is snowballed. So I just keep hearing that for you, in order to get out of this funk, that we need to shift some of our perspective a little bit. So sometimes that can mean, like I will tell people, if you're trying to manifest money, some people will say, I don't want to be poor anymore. Well, spirit only hears the word poor. And that's all that they're going to act upon, because spirit really listens to action words. So that's why I hear things, instead of saying things like, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be sad or miserable, or I don't want to be fat anymore. Don't say things like that. Say, I want to have abundance and health, wealth, and love. I want to be healthy. I want to be, focus on changing the perspective and the narrative to a positive way, because you're still saying it the same exact way. Instead of saying, I don't want to be poor, you're saying, I want to be abundant in wealth, health, and love. That's the same thing. You're just putting the positive twist, and then spirit will, and the universe, I mean, not to get all hippie, but they'll respond accordingly to your verbiage and your actions. So that's what I feel like with this card is that take your life a little bit more into your own hands. And I think it'll not only make you feel more empowered of the outcomes going on in your life, but in general, I think that you'll notice things start going your way.
So now, there's a great question here, but one more card pulled for now, and then I'm going to go into the question, because this question actually evolves with somebody else too, a friend named Becky, but also Anne is the one asking the question. But I've been asked this question many times, and we're going to get into that. I like that answer, Barry. All right, yeah, it's all good. So Donna Biddle, she wants a card pulled. May you pull that card, and then we're going to get away from the card pulling for a moment and things like that. We're going to take a small break after Donna Biddle.
Okay, so Donna's card. So unfortunately with this card, there's only a few ways to interpret it, and I already think I know the one. So the card that I got for you, Donna, is Round and Round. This card is calling you out on that there's some kind of cycle or habit or pattern that you have that is not serving you. Now that can be with finances, career, it can be with, food you eat, the money you spend. But this card is telling you that if you want to put things more in line and align more with what's for your higher good, we need to do some inventory work, and we need to identify any habits, patterns, or cycles that are not serving our higher good. So, I usually tell people, is there any actions that you do where going into it, maybe you're like, I have to do it, or I need to do it. And then afterwards you feel guilty, or you shouldn't, or you shouldn't have done that, maybe impulse shopping, things like that, to where afterwards there's maybe some residual guilt. I wasn't looking at either of you, by the way. I was just throwing that out there. Look at Genevieve kind of went like, oh God, she's on to me.
I even friggin' choked there. I'm like, well.
But that's the thing is that, with this card, just make sure that we take time to identify habits or cycles that are not serving you, because that energy that we're putting into that could be better used towards other stuff that's more positive for you. Hopefully that resonates.
Awesome. All right, so no more card readings from here on out. The last one I'm going to ask you to do is for Jen and I.
Okay.
If anyone wants a card read, because we are coming to the end of time, Jen, we got like 30 minutes left.
Yeah.
And we don't want to.
Fast.
This went fast tonight. It was actually a great night, Chelsea. You are amazing to talk to.
I'm trying. I hope so.
Yeah, and you're going to be back on with the author show, and then I want you to be on. I want you to be on the Creepy Parlor.
I mean, you have such a great presence too. It's not just the awesome readings. Like, your conversation is fantastic too. Like, I'm just having so much fun.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, and you have got a great personality. So, yeah, we're forever going to do this. And thank you once again for answering my phone call.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll keep calling.
What was that?
He'll keep calling.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
For a second there, I was like, I've got a stalker. This is fantastic.
Jesus, I got to get rid of my phone. I get in trouble from 10. I get fired like once a day for calling. It is what it is. But I do want to go into this question, because this will answer a question that someone else has. And like I said, I have a friend, Becky, from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Anne is actually the one. We know Anne very well. And her question is, let me go back up to it. What advice do you have for someone who is new to reading tarot? And that actually kills.
That's a really good question.
Great question.
That's an excellent question. So I'm going to make a joke. I'm going to preface it by saying this as a joke. Is my advice to reading tarot is not to read tarot. No, I'm kidding.
I get that. I totally get that.
What?
I totally get that.
No. So here's the thing. From an honest perspective, I always tell people, it doesn't matter what cards you're reading or even what kind of psychic reading you're giving in general. My number one thing I could always tell people is trust your gut. Because just because information that you're getting, or maybe the cards come together and you're like, God, these don't make sense to me, does not mean it's not going to make total sense to your client. So my number one thing I would say with any kind of reading or channeling is know that the information, and the other thing is, my friend I spoke about earlier, JJ, he trained with this really amazing medium named Gordon Smith. And one of the things that he taught him was, when it comes to channeling, a no is an unrealized yes. And I can't tell you, between him and I, how many stories that we could talk about where there's times where clients will go, nope, no connection. And then the next day we get a text, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I would say probably 90% of the no's that I get are with, they just didn't connect it at the time. I just had a client 3 or 4 nights ago where I said, I'm picking up on the grandfather figure. And I go, and he's obsessed with football, couldn't care less about baseball, basketball, anything else. He's a football only guy. And I said, you still have his jersey, right? And she goes, yeah, I sure do. And I go, and there's the connection with 33. Or maybe it's March 3rd. And she goes, no connection there. And the next day went and found his jersey. And guess what his number was?
33.
So that's where the 33 came from, that was his jersey number. So she texted me a picture of his jersey. So that's the thing is that, to me, that was just what popped up. I'd rather, and so if I had to advise you, I would say, go into it knowing that if I'm wrong, either it's that it hasn't happened to them yet, or that maybe they don't recognize what it is and that later it'll come to them, and don't get rattled by the no's. I'm not saying become arrogant like you're always right, because I absolutely will get things wrong in reading it. I'm human, right? Or I'll misinterpret the information that I'm getting. But I think when it comes to any kind of reading, just being comfortable hearing the word no and letting it still be a source of, well, okay, I can move on from that then, and not getting, because some people will get really rattled once they hear no, and then they'll go, God, is the rest of the information I'm getting off? And no, you just keep moving forward like a steam engine. Just keep going. So
yeah, and that's me. That's an Aries all day long. Come on. We talked about that. You're like you're cold, or you're not cold, but you just make so many phone, and like Jen just agreed, like so many phone calls. You are a steam engine. I get it. Oh shit. Mm-hmm. Totally took that.
So hopefully that makes sense. I personally read oracle cards because I feel like I get more variety in the messages, because in my opinion, I mean, granted, there's the different positions of the cards and what they'll mean, but I feel like the 2 of Cups is always going to be the 2 of Cups. And sometimes people in the position it's at in the reading can have different influences, but I'll be honest, I'm just a rebel without a cause, and having rules and boundaries as far as what I can say during a card reading, I just don't like that. That's why I lean towards oracle, but I have a lot of respect for tarot readers, and I have tarot decks and I play with them, but mostly for myself, just because I still have to read the books on those. I don't have all those cards memorized. So.
All right. So Chelsea, let's do this real quick with Genevieve. So anyone who wants a reading, Chelsea, tell them how to get a hold of you from here on out, because the last reading we're going to do tonight is for Genevieve and I. But how can somebody get a hold of you? And you have proven yourself straight up, like you're not afraid to talk, like you've touched people.
I'm actually more afraid to shut up, so you usually have to tell me to do so, or I'll just keep going. So that's the Gemini cusp in me. So as far as how to get a hold of me, you can book or see my website at mediumchelsea.com. On Facebook, Medium Chelsea, super hard to find. And then you can also text 503-877-9232. is the other way to reach me. But yeah, predominantly through my website's the best way. And you can email, and there's a contact form on there, or you can book directly. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me, I would say, if people had questions. And like I said, on my Facebook, I do little lives like this as well, where I'll go live and answer questions for free. I don't require any payment or anything like that for those type of like quick freebies like what we're doing tonight. It's just my way of giving back. But yeah, if you like my business page and then find my personal page on Facebook under Chelsea Anderson, there's a lot of us out there. So you usually have to look up Chelsea Anderson, like Oregon or something like that. But yeah, that's where I usually do a lot of my readings.
And definitely go out there and find her, because she reached a lot of you guys tonight, as far as even friends. So do her the favor by liking and sharing, just like we all do. So please do me that favor from the heart.
I did post those links too in the comments.
Indeed, and I'll go on there and I'll post them on there tomorrow when I find out what I'm doing, as far as when I get off technical difficulties. So I promise you they'll be on there. You got 2 cards to pull, Chelsea.
For who? For you guys?
Yep, and that's how we're gonna end it.
That's not going to take 30 minutes. Do you guys have questions?
I know, yeah, no, I'm gonna end it a little bit early because I got something else to talk about, but I definitely want people to find you.
Okay, perfect. So
you go first, Dom. Dom's first.
No, hell no, ladies first. Always ladies first. Don't put me in that spot, Genevieve.
Okay, so all right.
Am I ready?
So is Dom first or Jen?
Oh, hell no, Genevieve first.
Okay. So the card that I actually got for you, so this will be interesting, so you might have to tell me, but I got the message in a bottle card, and this is always, without a doubt, my mediumship card. So when I pull this in a reading, it means there's someone trying to say hi. So is there someone you were hoping to connect with tonight that maybe you didn't, how do I say this? Maybe you didn't want to impose by asking, because your guides keep telling you if there's someone you do want to hear from, but you don't want to be rude and impose for a reading. So this card is saying, cut to the chase. Who do you want to talk to?
My dad.
Don't tell. Well, okay. Okay. Don't tell me too much though. Just yes or no answers, please. So as far as connecting with your dad, so there's. Okay, and so he was he sick for a while before his passing? Okay, but the issue with him is like, because he keeps showing me stair steps. So when I see the issue of stair steps, it means like our health was declining, but not in like a slow sloping. It was more like we'd have like an event that would really drag our health down, but then we would plateau for a while, and then it would drop again and then plateau for a while. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing with him is that I keep going to the chest because I'm having the trouble breathing. So is there the connection with not being able to breathe, or the chest issue?
Chest.
Okay.
His heart.
And then he's okay. And did he pass from cancer?
No.
Okay. Then I need to know the connection then, because he makes me feel like whatever this is, it was originating in the chest, but then there was other issues with other organs. And typically when I see that, that can mean cancer, but did we have either other organs that failed or other issues with that?
He had congestive heart failure, and it was starting. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. But I keep going to the kidneys with him. So did he have the kidney or the dehydration issues? Because I keep going. And if this isn't him, then I'm getting somebody else. Because my rule of thumb is if I get 3 things wrong in a row, then I'm picking up on somebody else.
Jillian does say fluid.
Fluid, yeah.
I don't want to get into it because it's none of my business, but I do want to, if you don't see that, it says fluid.
Yeah.
Okay.
He started to build up fluid.
If he was taking on fluid or whatever, because I keep going to the kidney issue, that there was something that was going on there, and that might have been how he was trying to convey to me what was going on. And then the other thing is that did he not like going to the doctors, or I don't want to say refuse to go, but just in general would try to avoid going?
No. I can pick up what he's. It wasn't an avoidance, but it was he didn't want to be sick.
Well, no one wants to be sick.
No, but it was like
what he's showing me is that like either just not wanting to deal with it, not wanting to go to doctors. So because the other thing he keeps showing me that's kind of on the heels of that is I don't know if he had opportunities to improve his health and either ignored them or maybe didn't do as good of a job, because he's kind of going like this, like, I take a little ownership for my health, because that's his way of acknowledging, okay, maybe I didn't make the best choices that contributed to the heart issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the other thing is that did you not get to say goodbye in the way you wanted to, or not get to say goodbye at all?
I did not.
Okay. So the way you wanted to, or just in general didn't get to?
Just in general, it was pretty sudden.
Okay. So, because here's the thing is that he brings up that, and the other thing that's kind of tough is that I know he had the CHF, but he makes me feel like, did the doctors have a hard time of guessing how much time he had left? Because I keep seeing like we're rolling the dice and we don't know if this week we have 2 weeks or we've got 6 months. Like, we don't know. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was really hard to, because when we know a loved one is sick and going downhill, we want to spend as much time with them. But if they've got 5 years, maybe we'll take that trip to Hawaii because we know they'll be here when we get back. But he makes me feel like everyone was frozen in time waiting to figure out what was going on because we just didn't know because it was too unpredictable. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And then there's also the connection with him with 2 years. So I don't know if he was really sick for 2 years. He's been gone for 2 years, but he specifically showed me 2 years. And I feel like it's more in connection to like his illness. So I don't know if he was really, really sick for 2 years, or that's about how long it took between when things started and it started to go downhill. But I feel like the quantity of time is more referring to him being sick.
I'm not sure. I have to think about that. That might be one of those things that tomorrow I go, oh, that's what it is.
That's fine.
Or maybe
That's fine.
maybe my sister has some input.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
show has become something of a beautiful Russian roulette.
Mm.
And I have to deny. So I feel this breaks my heart to tell people because they're asking questions for readings and stuff like that. But I promised, that I wasn't going to put you on the spot no more.
No, it's fine. I do want to finish up because I'm with.
Yeah, and
I want to finish up with her,
Go
and if
ahead.
we need to, then whatever. But
go ahead.
I just want to make sure though, what's the connection? Because I'm seeing there's yellow roses right now. So who's got the birthday that's either within 2 or anniversary that's within 2 weeks or just passed within 2 weeks? And if it's not connected to him, it can also be connected to someone else. It might just be his way of saying like happy birthday or anniversary or whatever.
He did pass 2 weeks before Christmas.
Oh, perfect. And that's all it is. So he's just acknowledging the anniversary right before Christmas. So that's fine. With him though, does your mom still have a really hard time with his passing? Okay. And has he been gone? So has he been gone 5 years?
15.
Okay. So I know it's at least 5.
Yeah.
I just didn't get a sense for how long. Because the reason why I asked that is that I feel like, well, then no, because he showed me the 5 again. So we're gonna come back to that. But the reason he's bringing up the time thing is I feel like there's been a significant amount of time since his passing, but I feel like your mom still struggles with it. Even if she's moved on and found someone else, I feel like there's still the issue there of feeling like she could have done more or could have helped more. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
So, and even if it's not now, maybe it was at the time or she struggled with it for a few years after his passing. I do feel like he checks in on her. Has she moved on though and has either remarried?
No.
Or moved? Okay.
No.
I didn't know
she's physically moved a few times out of our family home, but
okay.
She's not.
Okay. No, that's fine. Because I just heard moved on, and I didn't know if he meant moved on dating or moved on like physically moved. Sometimes spirit's a little vague with me, and I have to kind of assume I know what they're talking about. So, so I will say this much, without going too deep, because I try not to get too emotional on these shows for the people I'm reading. But I will say this much is that your dad's safe and at peace. There's the first thing. The second thing is that he doesn't want you to carry any guilt or burden anymore for not being able to say goodbye. And while he says she knows that it was completely unexpected, but there's still this feeling of wanting to have that completion, wanting to be able to be there for him. And he says I don't think I would have wanted you to see what it looked like for me or what it felt like for me in my last few moments. And I feel that would have been scarring for you. So please know that things panned out the way that they did for a reason.
Thank
Okay.
you.
The other thing that he says now, do you have one more thing, and then I will leave you with it. But is it just you and Jillian? Are those the only two kids?
No, I have two brothers too.
There's two brothers. Okay. So
Jillian.
yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So, because I want to go back to 5 though. Was there supposed to be a 5th kid, but there was a miscarriage?
Nothing I know of.
Okay. So, because I'm seeing my sign for miscarriage or that there's a baby on the other side that's in connection. And sometimes it means there's a baby coming. I don't feel like that though. I feel like it's one that was supposed to be but didn't come to be. So I don't know if you or Jillian or if your brothers are married or something and there's a connection with there's a baby on the other side. So, and if it doesn't make sense, that's okay.
It might. I'll message you tomorrow.
Okay.
What's funny about that is this. I got a lot of jokes for Jill now, as far as the funny thing. But yeah, other than that, like beautiful. That was beautiful.
So, but I just want to make sure that you know you don't need to carry any guilt for not being able to be there, because I don't think that it would have served your higher good to be able to see that. Some people can see that it doesn't impact them, and I feel like it would have had a pretty long-lasting impact for you to be able to see that.
It was not a pleasant thing that happened. So
the other thing, one last thing, and then I promise I'll shut up, and then Dom, I'll read you. But the other thing he says is that he wants to acknowledge that you were always, I don't know if you always felt like you had to fit in a box or like you had to be a certain way or a certain person. And he's acknowledging that I feel like within the past maybe 5-6 years for you that we had this awakening where we realize we can be whoever we want to be. And he's just giving you kudos for stepping outside of your comfort zone and also what makes other people around you comfortable. Sometimes being a black sheep isn't easy. And so he's just giving you kudos for embracing the person that you were meant to be and not who other people wanted you to be. He's very proud of you for that. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. There you go. So hopefully that all resonates, and let me know about the other things. Like I said, I can always be wrong. I just think it's weird that all of a sudden I got the baby reference.
That is strange. No babies here. I got dogs.
Okay. Mr. Cool Shades, is it your turn?
Holy shit. No, it's End in Dark Shades.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all right. I'll take it.
Okay.
But I do want to say this. You are getting other hits for people who want to do readings and stuff like that. And please go find Chelsea and she will do readings for you. I can't take much more of her energy from her tonight. She's doing a great job. Christy is on here. Jess Tandy, they're asking for readings and stuff like that. And I don't know what to say. I just know that if you want to, you can after that.
You were the one that said you wanted to end early.
I do want to end early. I do want to end early, actually, because I want to go into a little bit more of the family thing and then what I'm pushing forward to. So I'm sorry, guys. It's one of those things where find Chelsea. Find Chelsea.
Me.
That's
Chelsea.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, find me online, because I do freebies. I try to go on once a month. I just don't make any guarantees because it really just depends on how crazy my life is. So, and I also, I don't want to make when I do my reading nights where I do go live, it pushes out my schedule. And so if I notice I'm getting busier, I don't want clients to wait 6 to 8 weeks for a reading. So that's when I usually do less of the live stuff. It's for that reason. So, but find me. Yep. And I do this forum on my website all the time, or not my website, my Facebook page.
So fantastic, and I think a lot of people say you're fantastic as well. And I really enjoyed you tonight, my friend. All right, so without further ado,
let's call you out. So I'm pulling a card, but I'll see what else pops up. Unless you have.
Wait, as Ted said it, when Ted jumped on, fuck.
What?
So you don't know, like I think it was last week's show. So we had a lot of people jump on at WLFEDB. It was so funny because I said I said it's a parental advisory show, but we had a guest on that, we really weren't cursing. And then Kenny's on with us, and Ted jumps on, which is our boss, and he goes, fuck. All right. He goes, oh, fuck. So like you're saying you're calling me out. I said, oh, fuck. So that makes sense. Go back to last week's show. And
Focus, dude. Focus.
I'm trying to avoid this, Genevieve.
I can tell.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. So I already pulled your card. Now, mind you, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me a question as well, or if you have follow-ups. But the card that I pulled for you, I got my TikTok card. So when I get this card, this means that right now you're on the heels of a big opportunity, and it's going to pass you by if you don't act now. I don't mean 5 minutes from now. I mean like right this second. So start working on any opportunities that you have, because I do feel like they're going to change your life as far as where you're trying to go, because I feel like this is more career oriented than maybe a personal thing. So I would say just make sure that for building your future as far as like career wise and moving forward where you want to go, any choices and decisions that you're contemplating making, you need to make now and move forward with them.
You're fucking totally right. Genevieve knows. You're totally right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm heading north to go home. Hot home work. The radio is my forever and my last job ever.
And that's the thing is that what I keep hearing is you've passed on opportunities before and regretted it. And I feel like if you pass on this one, you're really going to kick yourself.
I'll never pass on this one. You're right, Chelsea. I passed on a lot of opportunities, and more opportunities may show up from this. But right now, this entire WLFEDB family means the world to me. Literally means the world to me. And I'm not stopping. And I'll push all of them forward. And I'll bring people in as far as, opportunity for them. The whole point of Real Talk with Dom is opportunity. So where I didn't have it back in the day, I'll give it to people. And then like Ted, I don't give a shit if I get fired again tonight. He's given me opportunity more than you know, and he helps out with this shit. Like he's such a structure for this entire WLFEDB, and I love it. I love the entire like Kenny, everyone. I love them all. So yeah, you hit it right on the head. All right, my friend. So I do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Kenny Biddle says,
"Ted is a
poopy head."
You what?
Ted is a poopy head, Kenny Biddle says, and he's we're all joking because this is like honestly just one big family here, and I'll push them all no matter what, and I'm here for the entire structure of what this is. This is the last job I do.
Well, I'm honored that you asked me to be a part of it, so I humbly appreciate both of you guys.
I'm honored that you were a part of it, and thank you for answering the 100 phone calls that I called.
It wasn't 100. You're totally fine.
It was only 75. You're fine.
Yeah, no big deal. Just a Monday night for me. No big deal.
Chelsea, it was really, really nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yes.
One more time before we head out.
Real quick, though, I apologize if my dad doesn't shut up because he was a talker.
No, it's okay. Over the years, I've gotten pretty good at just shutting the door. But if I get anything, I usually will text my clients, like if I get any last minute stuff after they leave. So you might get a text from me if I get anything else.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Chelsea, one last time. I do this for everyone before Genevieve and I talk about what's coming up, how to get a hold of you for anyone that's just joining in and things like that. Just give a rundown and we'll say goodbye.
So you can reach me on my website, and you can also book and schedule there as well as see the different services I have and I offer. And that's mediumchelsea.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Medium Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On Real Talk with Dom. We'll see you on the Creepy Parlor soon. We'll see you on the Author Show. And just thank you for being on tonight, and thank you for making my Monday night. And then Genevieve and I, nobody else leave, because Genevieve and I will talk for a moment. We're going to talk about the new landscape of where my show is going. So, Chelsea, awesome. Much love.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Chelsea. Have a good night.
All right, Genevieve, that was great. So,
she got me all teary-eyed.
Robert White has just posted the mediumchelsea.com. Thank you for pushing her forward. So yeah, that's what this is all about, like opportunity and things like that. Real Talk with Dom. I mean, this is going to be one of the things where it's like I started in paranormal, and I want to get away from it, and you know that. I want to go more towards wrestling and vendor shows. I want to get into that.
Those are a lot of fun.
Yep. Give away free things. Next week is going to be a vendor show. We have the Fizzy Girls on. The Fizzy Girls out of this place here, giving away some free prizes. We have some other vendors that are going to be on too. I really want to go in that route because tonight was a nightmare beforehand, and we made it happen.
Chelsea is amazing. I'm so grateful that you connected me with her. She's fantastic. Thank you.
I'm so glad that I didn't stop tonight because I was going to stop tonight. I'm so glad I went forward with.
And who told you not to stop?
You.
Yeah.
You suck. But yeah, I'm glad that we went forward with it because I think we connected with a lot of people, and I'm grateful for tonight. It was cool. But I want to get away from the paranormal side of things. I think there's just a lot of bullshit, a lot of drama, and I want to do my own thing as far as real talk. We're going to go to live shows. Possessed Tranquility, who has my theme song. Unfortunately, they will not be the first band to have a live show on here. They got quarantined. But however, though, on January 25th, the entire band will be on the show. And Genevieve, I asked you to come on that one. The entire band will be on to talk and just talk about technically, what they do, the projects coming up, and things like that.
That would be a lot of fun.
Possessed Tranquility, at least give them that, and they'll in a later day when they could all get together for a live show. We will do that, but we have some live concerts coming on Real Talk with Dom, and that means a lot because that means I'm pushing forward and things like as we go with vendor shows. You understand where I'm going with this one? Is in wrestling, you're for us or against us and things like that, right? So people who have hearts and broken ones. Hey, Dom. She says, hey, Dom, there's Nancy right there. I love it. Genevieve just got off my live. That's the Fizzy Girls on here. Check that out. So where I go with this real quick, there's people who have like the opportunity right now, as far as like with that reading that I just had. It's called Opportunity and Move. However, though, like the people who break your heart, you'd never let them get away with shit. You'd never let them away. So I'm trying to say this. You could push business or bury business. So I will let the world know the people who are not my fave. And that means favorite. But I will push business forward from here on out as far as being my guest on here. But you don't forget who hurt you either. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Anyway, as we go, Jen, we've got a couple more shows left together.
Yeah.
And, it's tough because I don't want to say goodbye to you, and we never say goodbye.
Goodbye.
I know. I'm just saying we got like two more shows left. It's just a see you later. I get it. So it's one of those things, and I just want to say thank you to WLFEDB Radio. Thank you, Ted. Thank you for the family, and we're going to keep pushing together. And you ready to end this?
Ready when you are.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Dom.
Cheers.
Cheers.